Hi, I'm Ray, Chubby Ray Comics. I don't buy single issues. I buy trade paperbacks, I buy omnibuses, and I love talking about them. And you would never believe what my top question I get asked is. And the most frequent question I get asked is about Spider-Man. Constantly people are asking me to give Spider-Man omnibus rankings or recommendations. So that's what I'm going to do. My top Spider-Man recommendations for new collected edition readers. This is Amazing Spider-Man Omnibus Volume 1. This covers all the Spider-Man stuff, from Silver Age. We're talking 1960s. This is a classic. It's Stan Lee and Steve Ditko. This is where Spider-Man all started from. However, I would not recommend it for new readers. It's all the stuff from the 1960s. And the storylines take place in the 1960s. These stories are great, don't get me wrong, but I would suggest having a little experience with Spider-Man under your belt before you'd read something like Amazing Spider-Man Volume 1. Now here's Amazing Spider-Man Brand New Day. This is a book that capped off the modern Spider-Man era. This is after Peter and MJ went to Mephisto and they made a deal. I don't want to give any spoilers away, but they made a deal that started the whole thing over again. Brand New Day's a special kind of story. And it's the name of the next Spider-Man movie. However, I don't know if you should start here. You could concentrate on some of the Spider-Man art books, which are stories by David Michelinie, which were stories in the 1990s, and they were great. David Michelinie and various artists like Todd McFarlane, Eric Larson, and Mark Bagley. They have special omnibuses that contain all of these stories. Here's the Michelinie and Larson omnibus, for example. Look at the great art. It's fantastic art, it's good stories, and it's a cool place to start because you don't need a ton of background. And man, the art is amazing. That's Michelinie and Larson. Of course, there's Michelinie and Bagley, which is fantastic. Bagley's art is fantastic, and there's so many guest stars in this book that it makes it a really cool read. I mean, just in the 2 pages I showed you, you've got Punisher, you've got Captain America, you've got Nova. In the 1990s, Spider-Man was being visited by a bunch of people. It's a great book, but I don't know if a new reader should start there. You've got a lot of Spider-Man Venom stuff during this era. Then you've got the legendary Todd McFarlane. Todd McFarlane's Spider-Man art is amazing. It really is amazing. This is the Todd McFarlane Spider-Man book that spun off from Amazing Spider-Man, and all the art and story was done by Todd McFarlane. Stories aren't great, but the art is fantastic. And there's cool guest stars like Wolverine. But I wouldn't start with those either. The book for new readers to start, this is my recommendation. If you want great collected editions to start Spider-Man, I think you should go with Ultimate Spider-Man. Brian Michael Bendis is the writer, and the artist is Mark Bagley, who I've told you about. Mark Bagley's a great artist. This is a restart of the Spider-Man mythos. It's a restart of a Spider-Man series, and it's fantastic. The story is great. The art is great. It's got quick moving dialogue. It's great stories, and it's a quick read. You start reading this, you get caught up in it. Next thing you know, it's a few hours and you're done. Ultimate Spider-Man is really a good story. This is Volume 1. This is Volume 2. Now, there are 4 volumes, and there's a 5th volume that's coming out later this year. Volume 2 gets you Spider-Man and the Ultimate X-Men. Volume 2 might be my favorite volume. There's 4 overall. Like I said, Volume 5 is coming out. And there's something that exists now, but I don't even want to give you the name of the book because there's a spoiler in the name. But that book is considered the existing 5th volume. But wait till Volume 5 comes out and get it later this year. They're great. I highly recommend Ultimate Spider-Man. Now, after you read Ultimate Spider-Man, then I suggest going back and reading the original Spider-Man, because you'll know some of the mythos and you'll be able to understand that the 60s are what they are. A lot of us Spider-Man fans, we read that 60s stuff. We read it to know what happened, but we know it's the 60s stuff. So we read it and then we train our minds to kind of forget about it and move on. Spider-Man has been around over 60 years. Somehow you have to reconcile with the fact that he's only gone about 8 years in actual comic book time. And we know how to separate it. I suggest that anybody who's a comic reader, I would suggest that you know how to exist in comic time as well in order for it to make sense. My suggestion for new readers would be Ultimate Spider-Man by Brian Michael Bendis. Bendis is a great writer who really writes for the newer audience. He's got quick dialogue, his plots are great, he talks in a more modern language. There's no daddy-os or old slogans that aren't even used anymore in the Ultimate Spider-Man books. That's why I recommend Ultimate Spider-Man. But I love Spider-Man. I really do. That's why I have so many Spider-Man books. Some of them aren't even opened yet. I also have a ton of Spider-Man paperbacks. I love those. If you want paperback recommendations, maybe one day I'll give you those too. And the other thing with Spider-Man is no matter what, there's always several Spider-Man books that come out every single year. So Spider-Man omnibuses, I suggest Ultimate Spider-Man for new readers. For existing readers, you're crazy if you don't get those artist-centric books like Michelinie and McFarlane, Michelinie and Bagley, Michelinie and Larson. And the best Spider-Man omnibus, the best of all time, if you know the background, the best Spider-Man books you can get would be J. Michael Straczynski. Spider-Man by JMS is awesome. Now, I have the Spider-Man Ultimate Collection. So I haven't even opened my JMS omnibuses yet because I find myself reading the Ultimate Collections. And these stories are fantastic. This is art by John Romita Jr. and fantastic stories by J. Michael Straczynski. So if you could get your hand on any of these books, if you don't want to buy omnibuses and you can get your hands on these, I highly, highly recommend the JMS books. They're called Amazing Spider-Man Ultimate Collection, and they're great. These are the books that lead up to the restart, which happened right before Brand New Day. It's some of the best writing of any Spider-Man stories at any time. Now, these books also take place during the Civil War time when Spider-Man revealed his identity to the world, and it guest stars the Avengers. And there's a lot of good things that happen in the Ultimate Collection books. And the things that happen at the end of the Ultimate Collection books are too depressing to actually talk about. And that's what leads to Brand New Day. Your best Spider-Man stories for omnibus would be the J. Michael Straczynski Volume 1 and Volume 2. That would be my recommendation. So new readers, if you just want to get Spider-Man and get caught up, get the Ultimate Spider-Man. And then after you go through your Ultimate Spider-Man, then go back and read the original Spider-Man stuff. But move on to the David Michelinie stuff as quick as possible. Get to Michelinie and McFarlane, Michelinie and Larson, Michelinie and Bagley. And then get to the J. Michael Straczynski stuff because it's awesome. And then after that, after you do the J. Michael Straczynski stuff, then it's time for Brand New Day. After you do Brand New Day, then you've got the Nick Spencer run. The Nick Spencer run's kind of cool. There's 2 volumes of this, and these are great books as well. Then you've got the Joe Kelly run. These are some great stories. Then you could do books like Dark Web or Gang War, which just came out. In fact, I just got done reading it, and Gang War is surprisingly pretty good. There's a ton of Spider-Man out there. There's a ton of Spider-Man. And trust me, you'll want to read it all because Spider-Man is so good. Ultimate Spider-Man and all 4 existing volumes, plus the 5th that's coming out later this year, is probably your best bet if you're a new reader. But the actual answer to the question is, no matter where you start, you're gonna love it, and you won't be able to stop until you read it all. That's the coolest thing about Spider-Man. You'll start reading it, you'll love it, trust me. It's Spider-Man. It's great. I hope I've answered some of your questions, and I appreciate you letting me know. Make sure to subscribe to this channel on YouTube. Make sure to like this video. I appreciate when you like the video. Make sure to ask me any more questions. I love answering them. And share with me what you have. Anyway, I'm Chubby Ray. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll talk to you next time.